Hello everyone and welcome to TLC. Thanks for all your subs and I hope you're all gaining something valuable from all these videos. So today's song review is Babylon System. This was released in 1979 by Bob Marley. The song begins by stating, we refuse to be what you wanted us to be. We are what we are, that's the way it's going to be. You don't know. You can't educate I for no equal opportunity. Talking about my freedom, people freedom and liberty. Yeah, we're trodden on the winepress much too long. Rebel. Yes, we've been trodden on the winepress much too long. Rebel. Bob Marley is pointing out two important social situations here: miseducation and liberty, freedom. Firstly, the Rasta men will not live by man's laws, and the miseducation to the public.
The fishermen here use traps and catch him. Sometimes rough weather come and take away the trap with the fish in it. And this fish will live in this trap, and the trap will catch other fish and feed him until he grow big and the trap get weak. And one day, him just break out. Well, it's just so, you must know. Let us eat.
What your hands do, it's your own eyes that have seen. So won't you judge your actions to make sure that it doesn't mean it's your own conscience that is gonna remind you that it's your heart and nobody else's that is gonna judge. Be not selfish in your doing, pass it on, yeah. Help your brothers in their needs, pass it on. Live for yourself, if you will live in vain. Live for others and to live again. In the kingdom of Jah, man shall reign. Pass it on. Pass it on. Pass it on. Pass it on. What's in the darkness must be revealed to light. We're not here to judge what's good from bad, but to do the things that are right. On a hot sunny day, under the shadows for rescue. But as the day grows old, I know the sun is gonna find you. Be not selfish in your doing. Pass it on. Help your brothers in their needs. Pass it on. Live for yourself. You will live in vain. You're gonna live for others. You will live again. In the kingdom of Jah, man shall reign. Pass it on. Pass it on. Pass it on. Pass it on.
(1 Corinthians 9 verse 19 says, "Though I am free and belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone to win as many people as possible." Galatians 5 verse 1 says, "Freedom in Christ." It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Mark my words, I, Paul, tell you that if you let yourself be circumcised, Christ will be of no value to you at all. Again, I declare to every man who lets himself be circumcised that he is obliged to obey the whole law. Secondly, is speaking of liberty. The people that are still enslaved through emancipation, yet rather non-emancipation, that has been promised but not delivered. According to the human laws set up by the people in power, these laws have not been delivered to anyone but only served very small minority group and class. The majority of people on this earth are still poor, socially, economically, institutionally enslaved. Bob Marley is saying, we can be free from these circumstances by owning ourselves and live by peaceful laws that the Lord set out in the beginning of time. Bible verse, Exodus 20, the 10 Commandments. And God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no gods before me. You shall not make yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven, above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am punishing the children for the sins of the parents to the 3rd and the 4th generation of those who hate me, but showing love to the 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not misuse the name of your Lord your God, for the Lord will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all the work, but on the 7th day is Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, or your male or female servants, or your animals, or any foreigner residing in your towns. For in the 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. But he rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord the God is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox, donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. When the people saw the thunder and lightning and heard the trumpet and saw the mountains in smoke, they trembled with fear. They stayed at a distance and said to Moses, "Speak to us yourself, and we will listen." but do not have God speak to us, or we will die." Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. God has come to test you, so that the fear of God will be with you to keep you from sinning." The people remained at a distance while Moses approached the thick darkness where God was. People could be saved if only they knew how deeply enslaved they were in invisible financial chains, just like how Harriet Tubman puts it. Then he goes on to say, Babylon's system is the vampire, sucking the children day by day. Me say the Babylon system is the vampire, fallen empire, sucking the blood of the sufferers, building church and university, deceiving the people continuously. Me say graduating thieves and murderers. Look out now, they're sucking the blood of the sufferers. As described, Babylon is the meaning of the word Babylon. It's commonly referenced word in the Bible, so the word Babylon in many languages across the world means large, bustling, diverse cities. These include the word and is used in reggae music, Rastafari. Rastas don't believe in the materialistic, capitalistic world. It refers equality to British Empire, who have engineered the slave trade, and to the modern oppressive governments of the US and her allies. As they are considered to be one of and same imperial evil, it's believed that the Babylon actively seeks to exploit and oppress the people of the world, especially people of the African descent. It's believed that Babylon forbids the smoking of ganja because its sacred herb apparently opens the mind of men to the truth. Now, Bob Marley has been talking about this all his life, and he wanted to see this legalized. Free people, let them have their own choice. Some of these countries have legalized ganja due to its medical benefits. You'll be surprised to know that studies that's been done about marijuana has 20 medical benefits. These benefits you probably don't know. Benefit number 1. It slows down and stops cancer cells from spreading. It was found in a study published by the journal Cancer Research that cannabis has the ability to stop cancer by turning off the gene called ID1. In 2007, researchers at the California Pacific Medical Center in San Francisco reported that CBD may prevent cancer from spreading. The researchers experimented on breast cancer cells in the lab that had high level of ID1 and treated them with the cannabis. The outcome was positive. The cells had decreased the ID1s and were less aggressive, so it didn't spread. In fact, the American Association for Cancer Research has found that marijuana actually slows down the tumor growth in brains, breasts, lungs, and so on. Number 2, it prevents Alzheimer's. THC. The active ingredient present in marijuana slows down the progress of Alzheimer's disease. In 2006 study by a researcher called Kim Jandar, THC slows the formation of the plaques by blocking the enzyme in the brain that makes them. These plaques kill the brain cells and potentially lead to Alzheimer's disease. Number 3, it treats glaucoma. Marijuana can be used to treat glaucoma, which increases the pressure in the eyeball, injuring the optic nerve and causing loss of vision. According to the National Eye Institution, marijuana lowers the pressure inside the eye. Studies in the early 1970s shows that marijuana, when smoked, lowered the intraocular pressure, IOP. When smoked, in people with normal pressure those with glaucoma, this effect prevents blindness. Number 4, it relieves arthritis. Yes. In 2011, researchers reported that cannabis reduces pain, inflammation, and promotes sleep, which may help relieve the pain and discomfort for people with rheumatoid arthritis. Researchers of the rheumatology units at several hospitals gave the patients Sativex, a cannabis-based pain relief medicine. After 2 weeks, patients on Sativex had a significant reduction in pain and improved their sleep quality compared to placebo users. Now, medical benefit number 5, it controls epileptic seizure. In 2013, studies showed that marijuana can control epileptic seizures. It is found that the THC controls the seizures by binding the brain cells responsible for controlling excitable and regulating relaxation. The results were published in the Journal of Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics. Number 6, it eases the pain of multiple sclerosis. Yes, marijuana works to stop the negative neurologic effects and muscle spasms caused by multiple sclerosis. A study published in the Canadian Medical Association suggests that marijuana may ease painful symptoms of multiple sclerosis. Jordi Corey Bloom studied 30 multiple sclerosis patients with painful contractions in the muscles. These patients didn't respond to other medications. However, after smoking marijuana for a few days, they reported they were less in pain. The THC in marijuana bonds the receptors in the nerves and the muscles to relieve pain. Number 7, it smooths tumors for people with Parkinson's disease. Recent study from Israel shows that smoking marijuana remarkably reduces pain and tumors and improves sleep for Parkinson's disease patients. What was impressive about this research was the improvement of the fine motor skills among patients. Number 8, it helps Crohn's disease. Cannabis may be helpful with Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disorder that causes pain, vomiting, diarrhea, weight loss. But a recent study in Israel showed that smoking marijuana considerably reduces Crohn's disease symptoms in 10 out of 11 patients and causes a complete cancellation of the disease in 5 of those patients. Of course, this is a small study, but other researchers have shown similar results. The cannabinoids from cannabis seems to help gut control, bacteria, intestinal function. Number 9, decreases the symptoms of Dravet syndrome. The Dravet syndrome causes seizures, severe development delays. With medical marijuana strain high in cannabis and low in THC. During the research for his documentary called Weed, Gupta interviewed the Fiji family, and according to the film, the drug decreased her seizures from 300 seizures a week to just 1 seizure every 7 days. 40 other children are using the same medication, and it's helped them too. The doctors who are recommending this medication said that the cannabis in the plants interacts with the brain cells to quiet the excessive activities in the brain that causes these seizures. Number 10, it reduces side effects from treating hepatitis C and increasing treatment effectiveness. Treating hepatitis C infection has severe side effects. So severe that many people are not able to continue their treatment due to the side effects. It ranges from fatigue, nausea, muscle pains, loss of appetite, depression, and they last for months. A 2006 study in a peer journal discovered that 86% of patients using marijuana successfully finished their therapies, while only 29% of non-smokers completed their treatments. Maybe because marijuana helps to reduce the treatment of side effects? Now, cannabis also helps to improve the treatment effectiveness. 54% of the hepatitis C patients smoking marijuana got the viral level low and kept them low compared to only 8% of the non-smokers.
Legalize it, yeah, yeah.
Number 11, it decreases anxiety. In 2010, researchers at Harvard University suggested that another benefit of marijuana may actually be reducing anxiety, which would improve the smoker's mood and act as a sedative in low doses. Number 12, it helps reverse the cardiology effects of tobacco and improve lung health. In January 2012, a study published in the Journal of American Medical Association showed that marijuana improved lung function and even increased lung capacity. Researchers looking for risk factor of heart disease tested on 5,115 young adults over the period of 20 years and found out that not only pot users showed an increase in lung capacity compared to tobacco smokers who lost lung functions over time. So smoking weed is better than smoking tobacco. Actually improves your lung capacity. It is believed that the increased lung capacity is due to the deep breaths taken while inhaling marijuana and not from the therapeutic chemical marijuana. Number 13, reduces severe pain and nausea from chemo and stimulates appetite. One of the most common uses of medical marijuana is for people going through chemotherapy. Cancer patients going through chemo suffer from severe pains, painful nausea, vomiting, and loss of appetite. This can lead to further health complications. Marijuana can help reduce these side effects, reducing pain, decreasing nausea, and stirring up the appetite. Number 14, improves symptoms of lupus. Medical marijuana is used to treat lupus, which is when the body starts attacking itself for unknown reasons. It is believed that some chemical presented in cannabis is responsible to calm the immune system, which may be the reason to help deal with symptoms of lupus. The rest of the positive impact of the marijuana is probably from the side effects of the pain and nausea. Number 15, it protects the brain after a stroke. Researchers from University of Nottingham shows that cannabis may help protect the brain from damage caused by a stroke by reducing the size of the area affected by the stroke. This isn't the only research that has shown neuroprotective effects from cannabis. Some researchers show that the plant may help protect the brain after other traumatic events like concussion. Number 16, help veterans suffering from PTSD. Marijuana is approved to treat PTSD in some states in America. In New Mexico, PTSD is the #1 reason for people to get a license for medical marijuana over there. But this is the first time the US government Department of Health and Human Services has approved a proposal that incorporates smoked or vaporized marijuana. Naturally occurring cannabis, similar to THC, helps control the system that causes fear and anxiety in the body and brain. Number 17, controls other types of muscle spasms. Other types of muscle spasms respond to marijuana too. This causes non-stop spasm in the abdominal muscles, which are not only painful but interfere with breathing and speaking. Chaz has been using medical marijuana to treat his disease because other very strong medications were unable to improve his disease or treat him properly. So smoking marijuana is able to calm the attacks almost immediately, relaxing the muscles of the diaphragm. Number 18, treats inflammatory bowel disease. Just like Crohn's disease, patients with inflammatory bowel disease, like leukorective colitis, could benefit from marijuana use. The study shows in 2010, University of Nottingham researchers have found that chemicals in marijuana, including the THC and the cannabinoid, interacts with cells in the body and plays an important role in gut function and immune system. Number 19, helps eliminate nightmares. This is a bit complicated because it involves both positive and negative effects. Marijuana may disturb the sleep cycle by interrupting the later stage of the REM sleep. However, people who suffer from serious nightmares, especially patients with PTSD, this can be very helpful. Nightmares and other dreams occurring during these stages of sleep by interrupting the REM sleep, many of those dreams may not occur if you use marijuana. Researchers using a synthetic cannabis like THC showed a decrease in the number of nightmares in patients with PTSD. Marijuana may be a better sleep aid than other medications you find out there, or even alcohol, because the later two may potentially have worse effects on sleep. Though more research is needed on the topic, it's still better than alcohol and all those medications out there. Number 20, protects the brain from concussion and trauma. A recent study in the Journal of Cerebral Cortex showed possibilities that marijuana can help heal the brain after concussion or other traumatic injury. Harvard professor recently wrote an open letter to the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell saying the NFL should stop testing players for marijuana and instead should fund for research on marijuana plants' ability to protect the brain, he says. In the open letter he writes, already many doctors, researchers believe that marijuana has the incredible powerful neuroprotective properties, and understudying based on both laboratories and clinical data. In response, Goodell said he'd consider permitting athletes to use marijuana if medical research shows that it's an effective neuroprotective agent. Right, so these 20 medical benefits of marijuana are among the countless benefits this plant has. It is still a puzzle how medical marijuana is still not legalized in most of the country and still retains such a negative reputation, hopefully in the near future. Medical science continues to prove its benefit in some fields and makes this plant a famous cure for all major kinds of ailments. But Marley then goes on to say, tell the children the truth. Tell the children the truth. Tell the children the truth right now. Come and tell the children the truth. because we're trodden on the winepress much too long. Rebel, rebel. And we've been taken for granted much too long. Rebel, rebel. Now. He's saying there's something that's been hidden from us, guys. Something that's been blocked from our path or something. And how would you know if you saw the truth standing right in front of you? How would you even believe it when you've believed falsehood for so long? So when the truth comes to you, how do you accept it? And the Mandela's poverty speech relates to this very well. So the Mandela poverty speech, it was addressed in the London's Trafalgar Square for the campaign to end poverty in the developing world. Nelson Mandela goes on to say, I am privileged to be here today at the invitation of the campaign to make poverty history. As you know, I recently formally announced my retirement from public life and should not really be here. However, as long as poverty, injustice and gross inequality persists in our world, none of us can truly rest. Moreover, the global campaign for action against poverty presents such a noble cause that we could not decline the invitation. Prison of poverty, massive poverty and obscene inequality are such terrible scourges of our time. Times in which the world boasts breathtaking advances in science, technology, industry and wealth accumulation, that they have to rank alongside slavery and apprehend as social evils. The global campaign for action against poverty can take its place as a public movement, alongside the movement to abolish slavery and the international solidarity against apprehend. And I can never thank the people of Britain enough for their support through these days of struggle against apprehend. Many stood in solidarity with us, just a few yards from this spot. Through your will and passion, you assisted in consigning the evil system forever to history. But in this new century, millions of people in this world's poorest countries remain imprisoned, enslaved, and in chains. They are trapped in the prison of poverty. It is time to set them free. Like slavery and apprehend, poverty is not natural. It is man-made. It can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. And overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. It is an act of justice. It is the protection of the fundamental human rights, the rights to dignity and a decent life. While poverty persists, there is no true freedom. Trade justice. The steps are needed from developed nations are clear. The first is ensuring trade justice. I have said before that trade justice is a truly meaningful way for the developed countries to show commitment to bring about an end to global poverty. The second is an end to the debt crisis for the poorest countries. The third is to deliver much more aid and make sure it is of the highest quality. In 2005, there is a unique opportunity for making an impact. In September, world leaders will gather in New York to measure progress. Since they made the Millennium Declaration in the year 2000, that declaration promised to halve extreme poverty. But at the moment, the promise is falling tragically behind those leaders They must now honor their promises to the world's poorest citizens. Tomorrow, here in London, the G7 finance ministers can make a significant beginning. I am happy to have been invited to meet with them. The G8 leaders, when they met in Scotland in July, have already promised to focus on the issue of poverty, especially in Africa. I say to all those leaders, do not look the other way. Do not hesitate. Recognize that the world is hungry for action, not words. Act with courage and vision. A call to generation. Nelson Mandela is talking to this generation. He says, I am proud to wear the symbol of this global call to action in 2005. This white band is from my country. In a moment, I want to give this band to you, young people of Britain, and ask you to take it forward along with millions of others to the G8 summit in July. I entrust it to you. I will be watching with anticipation. We thank you for coming here today. Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that great generation. Let your greatness blossom. Of course, the task will not be easy, but not to do this would be a crime against humanity, against which I ask all humanity now to rise up. Make poverty history in 2005. Make history in 2005. Then we can all sit with our heads held high. Thank you. Now, this speech was written back in 2005, 16 years ago. Wow. That's from Nelson Mandela. Now, Bob Marley then goes on to say, trodden on the winepress, rebel, got to rebel. We've been trodden on the winepress much too long. From the very day we left the shores of our father's land, we've been trampled on. Lord, Lord, go to. He's speaking of slavery, the 400 plus years of slavery that's been mentioned in the Bible. The winepress will make a reference to slaves in the rich plantation owners who will be making wine for the rich slave owners. So the grapes and so on, trampling on the wine, pressing on the wine, making wine for all these rich enslaved owners, all these white enslaved owners. The majority of them were. Well guys, that's the end of the song review and my reaction. I hope you learned something new on this one. Catch my other videos if you want to link all of them together to make sense of all my reaction and my reviews. Furthermore, go out and listen to Bob Marley songs, okay? So comment below, like, subscribe, and join me on the next one. Until next time, one love, bye bye.